let's say 17, 18, teenager going into 20, what's your life looking like then?
Well, them time there, another twist and turn, you get me, because you get involved and start, you get me, branching off into other areas.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Any areas you can talk about? Any areas that maybe have been resolved and ain't gonna...
Yeah, areas like, yeah, you get into a few crimes here and there, and yeah, and that was it. I went jail. Spent a little time behind jail.
When you say little time, what's a little time?
About a year and a half, 16 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was that?
Jail, innit? You just got through the system. You realize it's another system you're up against, and you get me. It was a new experience, obviously, but I adapted and I learned, and you get me.
How old was
I was about 17 at the time.
Okay, so we're talking Feltham, we're talking one of these other places?
Feltham.
Okay. You do your whole time there, or did you visit any other?
Yeah, I went, I think it was Rochester.
Okay.
Yeah, Rochester in Kent. Yeah.
Okay. I know the young offenders thing is an amped environment. There's a whole load of testosterone in them places.
Yeah,
I think Big Man Joe is a bit more
calm,
mellow
and
calm. So I know young offenders is a bit more kind of...
I experienced both sides still. So yeah, it was a bit active, but I was a man that, you get me, I don't really get caught up with certain crowd or energy, you get me? So
okay.
Yeah,
so you've always kind of been a meditative person, would you say?
Yeah, I just been me, you get me? I just never get influenced or caught up in a certain things.
Okay, okay. When you finish jail, let's say for example, is that after that, are you now focused on music? Do you have a direction in your life that you want to go?
No, I don't even like focus on music like that, because obviously there was other things in life going on. Yeah, so music just came at a later date, my full focus, probably in 2017.
Okay. Yeah. So in that period then, between you coming out of jail and 2017, what's going on at that time?
Well, another twist and turn, you get me? What happened now, obviously, as a Jamaican at the time, went through the prison system, immigration came about.
While you were in prison? While you were in prison?
No,
or afterwards?
Not even while I was in prison, after 2 years later.
That's mad.
Yeah, that's mad. 2 years later, they freed me, everything, man was good as far as I know. I had my papers. So 2 years later, them come true, it was you should give us a reason why you should stay in the country. So I'm like, bro, at the time now, I think I had my first my daughter. Yeah.
Right.
And I was thinking, well, family life, innit? I've been here all my life, my family, my dad, rare. And from then, just went pear-shaped. From 2008, I would say, to about 2017, 18, I finally managed to beat the case and finalize everything.
Right. So in that time, did they ever dip you?
Nah. Well,
but that was the threat.
They was not successful in their action, but they tried to. They obviously I was going through from 2008 to 2018. You can just imagine the amount of courts, tribunals that I went through. You
never had to touch on them detention centres or nothing like that?
I had to touch a detention centre in 2017.
See, I know a couple of men that have done a little time in detention centre.
Yeah, it was mad. It was a mad experience. Spent 5 months up in there.
5 months, yeah?
5 months, you get me? So...
Thinking that at any moment they can just come and just grab you and stick you on the plane.
Man was prepared, always on point, but I still had in my head that I had certain rights that I knew that they was violating, and it's just to get that across to the right legal team or whatever.
So where did that kind of what's the word? Confidence or that knowledge come from? Where you know like some people will just accept that the system is all powerful and all knowing.
No, I'm not one of them.
Some people are like that, who are like, okay, even though I'm at a disadvantage, let's say, there is still a level of knowledge and knowledge of self and knowledge of who you are as a person to know that there's a way to fight. Where do you think that comes from?
That came from, obviously, the back and forth with lawyers, giving them your money, the amount of money, man, you can imagine the amount of expenses throughout that time.
Because there's no legal aid in it when it comes to...
legal aid was scrapped.
Yeah, I think with any people with immigration cases, they don't accept there's no legal aid in it.
So you have to just stand on your own 2 feet to just try pay lawyer fees. That weren't working because some of these lawyers, they're uneducated on nationality, and that is where my rights lies, on the nationality. But they was just dealing with me as a immigrant, asylum.
So explain the difference to me then, in that sense. You say nationality
is where most West Indians, Caribbeans, Jamaicans, whatever, even Ghana, the other 52 countries of the Commonwealth, most of them will fall under the British Nationality Act. You understand? But obviously immigration create their policies along the way and try to decept that. So so obviously I got caught up in that, and that's how they was able to discriminate against me and label me under a foreign nationality instead of a British nationality. So so I had to then seek that sort of knowledge independently and started writing and and reading and all of that. So I just started putting my case together, understanding their language, the code, how they speak, how they write. I just started studying all of that, and then I just started deflecting all of that back to them, like, you get me, and speaking back the same language, and you get me.
So are you representing yourself?
I represented myself all the way. Like when I realized that these lawyers, when I'm telling them about certain rights, they were like, but how could you be British and you was born in Jamaica? Well, I'm like, but Jamaica is a British territory. It's an extension of the United Kingdom. You understand? So I had to then go that deep into it, and obviously even back to 1962, Independence Act, and obviously that Constitution still remained the same, and it doesn't take away our inheritance rights and stuff like that. So it was just peak, getting that established and making them see from my side. So it was a fight, man. And
it sounds like a as I said, salute to that, because I feel like that's something that takes a special kind of person.
Propel it, because even though despite that I knew my rights, and I've been telling the court system from 2012, and they obviously weren't hearing that, because they're like saying their policy, one of their discriminative policies was I wasn't born in a wedlock, I wasn't born in marriage, so therefore I cannot be British citizen. So then I'm like, so what's the difference between a child that was born in a wedlock and wasn't? That's discrimination. You know what I'm saying? So so my argument was there. But then the wind rush, I must say, they them coming into play kind of helped, because obviously they knew that on a mass scale of the injustice that was happening across the United Kingdom. So the wind rush, maybe it's God's works, but they came into play at the right time, and I was just able to just, you know what, I'm going this route now, and then
So 2017 that was resolved, or 2018.
2018 it was fully resolved, because obviously knowing them again, and obviously the deception behind the whole thing, they were still trying to subject me to a visa. Like indefinite visa or a leave to remain visa. I'm like, nah, I want my nationality right. You get me? It's not that I'm begging British citizen or nothing, but that's what it is, innit? So let it be, innit? Like straight.
And so then that was pattern.
That was pattern. You get me? So by the grace of God, you get me, just take self-knowledge and just understanding their language, speak their language, and yeah.
Okay.
Can get through them system.
Let's talk about artistry now.
Yes, sir.
So music. Why music?
Music. It gave me a self-expression. I actually just generally love music from childhood anyway, from growing up in Jamaica and like, you know, being around certain DJs or certain sound system, we'll call it, you get me? So yeah, music was just always therapy for me anyway. And when I write and create, it gives me a sense of freedom and stimulate the mind, especially throughout all those trials and tribulations I was going through at the time. So even though I weren't actively recording and putting out tracks out there professionally, like I was still writing, and it still gave me that mental therapy.
So, okay, so now you've been, say, for a year, maybe 2 years of focusing, or a year, you said, a year of focusing on it. What would you say is your, what would you say is the formula that you've used to bring yourself from, I don't know, writing in just a book to, I know that I've seen at least a couple of videos I've seen you do, and I've seen you on the social media, and I've seen that you're doing performances and all these kinds of things. So how did you get from, you know, writing lyrics in the detention centre on whatever book you was using to there?
Alright, basically, I write on any piece of paper I can find. If I can write on a piece of tissue, I write on that. You get me? So I've just always maintained that, and you know, like I just always tell myself that I'm not gonna get deported, and I'm gonna get to do music, and you get me, just experience and do what I love. You get me? I just feel like Babylon was just trying to pull an illusion over man's eyes, and that was it. Yeah, so that was just, it was just one of my life challenge which I don't look at it as a bad thing or a negative, but like, you get me, it helped me to learn wiser and see the system for what it really is. Yeah, so yeah, that just complement the music.
Yeah. And what steps have you taken since, in the sense of your music career? I'm saying, like, what, obviously I'm not an artist, innit? So I'm thinking, what do you do? So alright, you've got your lyrics. How do you make connections with people to even get on a show? Or how do you buck up on a man that's got a studio? Or like, if you want to record, you know what I mean, wonders of modern technology, maybe you can do it yourself. I don't know. But
basically, what
was your process?
My process was just utilizing the resources and people around me.
Okay.
And like, if I got a friend that got a studio or whatever the case might be, or make a beat, then you get me, I try and engage with that person, and you get me, we just start a process of friendship and see what we can do in terms of making the music. So that was always my approach. Yeah. Always utilizing the resources I have around me.
Alright. Are you a Rasta?
Yes, sir.
Alright. Is that something that you came to be, or is that something that you have